Hello everybody, welcome to the first installment of our rural campaign advice. We're going to be doing a complete series of videos on things that might help you out if you want to do a campaign running in a rural area. Right now we're in the middle of a little bit of a road trip heading down toward the cities for a work conference, and I figured it started out a strong way to go with this is going to be transportation. If you live in a rural area, you know that it's not easy to get around. You are driving, and you are driving a lot. If you're going to be campaigning, you're going to be driving even more than you knew. You're going to be racking up miles basically every day after work. You need to be out doing something. Every weekend, you're going to be doing something, whether it's campaign events or parades, whatever it is. Your biggest thing before you're going to be able to run a good campaign is figuring out reliable transportation. It's not fair, really, on these rural campaigns that if you don't have a car, you're not going to be able to run. But I'm going to be very honest with you. If you don't have a car that can put on the miles, if you don't have someone that can drive you around, if you don't have a car that is willing to do that daily, it's going to be very hard to run a semi-successful campaign. It's important. It's very important. I mean, you can get out on the internet, you can do a lot of stuff like that, but in-person events are still going to be your bread and butter. So right now, we left Thief River Falls. We're doing, 350 miles down to the cities. And we put that on in a day or two doing campaign stuff. My first big kickoff event was going to every single town and township in the area in 1A. That, I think, ended up being a little bit over 500 miles that I did on my motorcycle at the time because I didn't want to waste too much on gas. But that was just one day. That was just for a kickoff event. So you need to make sure that you have a good, reliable way of getting around. It's important, and you're going to have to beat it up a little bit. Having a buddy that can go with you. My wife doesn't want to be on camera, but she's sitting over here. She was great. We go to parades and everything. She's driving so we can walk. You're going to need a couple people that are willing to drive and do these events with you. So I would say if you have a minivan or a truck, it's going to be about the best ways to start because you're going to have a lot of campaign materials that you need to haul around. You're going to have people that you're going to need to haul around. When you're doing parades, it's nice to walk, but you're still going to have something to, have all your candy and your materials in. So it's really a never-ending supply of hauling things. So first thing there is what I'm going to start out with is make sure that you have a good, reliable source of transportation, that you have somebody willing to drive with you at all times. You need a buddy. You got to have a whole buddy system in place for not only this, but for many, many aspects in campaigning. Whether it's volunteers, and we'll get into more of that later on, but a good, solid support system is vital to all of this. So really think about that when we're going on there is, can you afford to put a couple thousand miles on your vehicle? Can you afford to put the gas in your vehicle to do that? Now, mileage is reimbursable on your campaign funds. It goes through all the campaign finance laws and everything. I'm not going to get a lot into the rules on that in any of my videos. I really want you guys, if you get into this, to talk to your local unit treasurer and the campaign finance board to learn those rules, because I never want to steer anybody wrong when it comes to something that involves legal consequences. There's been party units and party treasurers and people that give really, really bad advice and saying that laws don't matter. They absolutely do. And you might not get caught at first, but you certainly don't want to get felony level charges for misappropriating funds in campaign. So yes, mileage is reimbursable. Look up those laws through a trusted source on your own. I'm not going to give you that kind of advice on this. But solid vehicle, make sure you're willing to put that time and money into it. Make sure you have a vehicle big enough for what you need. Think about signs. Think about how many signs you're going to need for your area and how much those take up. Right now, we're in my wife's truck. It has a nice big bed. Easy enough to move signs around there. But if you get the big field signs, those are 5x8. I got those in my Honda Pilot, and they went on top of my head. We held them on top of my head to go all the way to the back. If you got a little Civic or something like that, you might not be able to get those signs in there. Do you have a backup plan to be able to move this stuff around? Are you going to be able to fit 200-300 yard signs in your vehicle along with everything else you need if you got to go take a road trip down and pick all this stuff up? So it's planning and backup on being able to move everything around. Same goes with the parades. A truck is very nice because you can put signs on the sides, and then you can still have the back to put people in to hold up stuff, to throw out candy. You have room to put everything in there for your walkers to grab an extra bottle of water if they need. It doesn't sound like it much, but it's nice to have quick, easy access. So it's not just about, hey, can I get around? It's, can I do everything that I need to? Do I have access to a vehicle that can do what I need to at the time? So if you're thinking about running a campaign, especially in a rural area where we have hundreds of miles in a district, ask yourself if you can get around that district. Metro areas have far less in some of them than we do. Some of them are a couple miles wide. Not too bad to get around. You can walk, you can bike. We get up here in these outside areas, and I'm 4 counties big. You go over to like 3A, and it's almost the entire Arrowhead of Minnesota. You got to be able to get around, because you'll never get the votes if you can't get out to talk to these people where they're at. And the only way to do that is driving out to see them. So we're going to keep going on with more videos. We're going to keep going over some very simple topics at the beginning here. If you guys have any questions or topics you want to go over, leave some comments below, and we'll go over those as we get through more of these videos. Next video is probably going to be on parades. Parades are a great way to get out and meet your voters, and we'll go over that a lot more. But I definitely wanted to get that big one out of the way on if you even want to consider running, make sure it's physically possible you can get around to these areas. So thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you on the next video.